Let me show you a miracle of human civilization. A straight line.
It's clean, efficient, emotionally comforting, and historically, it's also the kind of line you draw when you're about to ruin millions of lives.
A group of extremely confident men decided borders should be drawn like a box around a paragraph you don't want to read. Just straight through it.
Today I'm explaining how straight lines on maps, drawn with rulers, ink, and a heroic lack of empathy, helped cause decades of war and atrocities.
And here's the best part. The people who drew the lines rarely even got sweaty. They did it indoors.
We have to time travel to the late 1800s and early 1900s, what historians politely call the Age of Imperialism.
European powers looked at huge parts of the planet and said, "Wow, that's gorgeous. Anyway, it's mine now."
Not because they lived there, or spoke the languages, or understood anything, because they had ships, rifles, and confidence.
The central villain isn't a dictator or an army. It's a concept. Administrative convenience.
When you're running an empire, messy borders are annoying. Sir, our new colony is a rectangle. Excellent. Promote this man.
A perfect example is the Berlin Conference of 1884-1885, where European powers met to divide Africa.
Quick question. Who was not invited? Africans!
Apartheid.
Straight lines were fast and neat, and they didn't care if they cut a community in half.
Welcome to the Middle East after World War I. 1. The Ottoman Empire collapses.
This was a moment where the people could have negotiated new borders and futures. European powers said, absolutely not.
Britain and France, through deals like Sykes-Picot, divided the region into zones of influence.
Which is a very diplomatic way of saying, we called dibs.
They drew borders that forced together communities with different sex, languages, and political goals.
Then they installed friendly elites, built institutions for the mandate powers, and acted shocked when things got unstable. The classic example is Iraq. It was stitched together from former Ottoman provinces with different local dynamics. External powers prioritized control, and over time, Iraq became a stage for coups, intervention, insurgency, and civil war.
If you build a house on quicksand, don't be surprised when it becomes a swimming pool.
And then there are the Kurds, millions of people spread across Turkey, Iraq, Syria, and Iran, without a state. Borders made Kurdish autonomy inconvenient for everyone else, so communities faced cycles of suppression, displacement, and conflict.
Now we arrive at one of the most brutally efficient border disasters of all time.
They appointed Cyril Radcliffe, who had never been to India before, and gave him weeks to draw a border.
That border became the Radcliffe Line. It sliced through villages, fields, roads, and family networks.
When the border was announced, about 14 million people were displaced, almost overnight.
And roughly 1 million died in the chaos, because the line changed the rules of survival overnight.
A ruler's stroke turned neighbors into threats.
Partition helped create the Kashmir dispute, triggering multiple wars between India and Pakistan.
Both of which have nuclear weapons, so yes, this still matters. A lot.
Now, I want to be clear. Borders themselves are not evil. The problem is the process.
These borders were often drawn without local representation, without understanding, without plans, and without accountability.
The officials went home. The people inside the borders stayed. They stayed.
And they said, such ancient conflicts. Ancient? My brother in bureaucracy, you invented the conflict last Tuesday.
The cynical part is how predictable it is. Trap rivals, reward winner-takes-all politics, add scarcity and interference, peace doesn't happen.
You get a competition for control where losing can mean exile or death, so everyone fights. And we pretend it's mysterious.
So the next time you look at a world map and admire how tidy it feels, remember,
Those lines are not neutral. They're historical decisions.
They're scars that got legalized. Straight lines on paper created crooked realities.
And the world has been paying the bill ever since.
My name is Benji.
And I am really smart.
Thanks for watching. Farewell.